What to do, YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review Bubba Sparxxx's 2007 mixtape, Survive Till You Thrive. Now, basically, this project came out after his early 2006 album, The Charm, which had a lot of massive success with songs like Heat It Up and then the big song Miss New Booty. But then Bubba Sparxxx kind of disappeared, and he disappeared for quite some time. The next studio album that he put out didn't show up until 2013. At least that's what Wikipedia says. And there's some concepts behind it. Like, so you would wonder what kind of happened between 2006 and 2013, all this stuff. Well, there's a number of Bubba Sparxxx projects that kind of happened in between that 7 year gap, and this is one of them. This is the closest one after his breakout project, The Charm. And it was kind of difficult to obtain. Just because at this current moment, DatPiff is kind of going through with download problems. That kind of bothered me. But then this mixtape only has like 2,800 downloads in 17 years that it's been up. So I kind of was underneath the impression of wondering where else I could find it. But I did find somewhere else. So originally I was going to review another project, but I'm going to get this one in because this is the one I wanted to do. But yeah, basically, Bubba Sparxxx has a number of projects that kind of came out in between 2006 and 2013. But this is kind of one that's very low key. I just don't hear this project being talked about much at all. And I definitely wanted to cover it because it's pretty rock solid. It's definitely interesting because I was thinking, because I tried listening in the past to like one of Bubba Sparxxx's albums from the 2010s. I do kind of remember that he was not quite as polished as he was on The Charm. There definitely weren't songs, I don't want to say definitely, but it didn't seem like there were hit songs like Miss New Booty and Heat It Up and Claremont Lounge and some of those type ones. So I just wonder, that happens to a number of artists when you get them a number of years past their mainstream album. They kind of lose some of the flair that they had, at least in terms of chartability. But I wanted to see Bubba Sparxxx a year after The Charm to kind of see what he was up to with Survive Till You Thrive. And that's kind of the concept here. It's pretty rock solid. I mean, it may not have a massive kind of hit like Mr. Collie Parks, may not have a massive produced hit like Mr. Collie Park's Miss New Booty or even something like Heat It Up, but it does have a lot of pretty rock solid club cuts on here and stuff like that. It's just interesting. Kind of reminds me of like typical MySpace music, that type of stuff, typical kind of club type music, and just substandard kind of club music that you would hear out of like Young Money or something like that out of the late 2000s. But this project really surprised me is because this was made in 2007. So in a lot of cases, there wasn't like an overabundance of original material that popped up in 2007. So it's just kind of interesting to get Bubba Sparxxx this ahead of the game in terms of doing stuff like that, because a lot of folks are just doing like freestyles and that type of stuff. So it's just interesting kind of get it. But there are some songs on here like Throwaway Money, Terrific, Simple Gentleman, So Money, You Know What I Like, that kind of have like some real standard kind of club, just basic kind of club type feels towards them. But I'll just go ahead and talk about these. So out of 18 songs on this project, I wound up liking 9.5. So I'll go ahead and recommend those two. So those 9 songs, and then I'll talk about the almost song. But the 9 songs would be Bitch Please, Get the Fuck On, Never Scared, Simple Gentleman, So Money, Terrific, Throwaway Money, You Know What I Like, 2 Feet 2 Inches, and then the song I'm on the fence about is I Love Love. To kind of talk about some of these, like, I feel like if you want a song that's kind of out of Bubba Sparxxx's kind of vernacular for the most part, the song I Love Love really reminded me of like a Dr. Dre type beat, reminded me of something kind of similar to the songs by Dr. Dre, The Next Episode and Forgot About Dre. Just has that kind of guitar like twang towards it in there from those same type songs. It's really out of character for Bubba Sparxxx. Didn't sound like anything southern from his normal angle, but that's an almost song just because I don't know how I felt about Bubba Sparxxx being that far out of his element, but I think I could grow to like it. But Get the Fuck On is a nice cruising around kind of song. This is definitely a nice one for like just being in the whip and kind of cruising around town, getting errands done, that type of stuff. Kind of a club song, but I just don't see it as a song for really like sitting around and just lounging as much. Bitch Please. I feel like there's like a lot of entry club songs. I feel like Bubba Sparxxx doesn't have like the standard VIP type feel of Miss New Booty, where it's not so much of Make It Rain, or it's not so much of Make It Rain type songs and the standard club craziness, but these are pretty basic. If you're just looking for like a standard night out on the club and that type of stuff and just basic kind of meandering and like fraternizing and that type of stuff. There are some pretty simple bops on here that just kind of they may not have like the rave and kind of crazy energy of Miss New Booty or even Heated Up, but they are quality. And I definitely give Bubba Sparxxx credit that he didn't lose his charm and his touch just from a year and a half later. So songs like Bitch Please, Simple Gentleman, So Money, You Know What I Like, those type songs really have that kind of feel towards it of just like entry level club cuts. I feel like the beats on Never Scared and Throwaway Money are two of the best on here. Throwaway Money really has like this kind of hypnotic kind of feel. It's really looming and kind of hypnotic, this hypnotizing kind of feel. And then Never Scared reminds me of like typical crunk songs that are called Never Scared, like the one by Bone Crusher and that type of stuff. That's probably like the most high octane song. That's probably like the most high octane song on here, I would have to say. This has a nice energy towards it. And then 2 Feet 2 Inches is a song for the whip, talking about being 26 inches off the ground and that type of stuff. This is a nice slow crawl kind of song. So you get a couple whip songs with Get the Fuck On and 2 Feet 2 Inches. This is nice. That one kind of has lounge energy towards it in terms of being a club cut, 2 feet 2 inches, but I'd say it's just basically this is pull up kind of song, kind of stunt kind of song, and just slow creep kind of song. So going down the street, slow creep, that type of stuff. You Know What I Like is another entry club cut, and that's just, that's about the consent of like the whole project here. I just would have to say it's got some good stuff, lots of good stepping out moments. But to talk about some of the ones I didn't like, I kind of felt like I didn't really like the beat on None of My Business and No Shit. Some of those just didn't quite get things done for me. I didn't like the same approach with Pocket Full of Mid. I mean, some of these were just kind of messy and just didn't have a good arrangement of how they were kind of turning out. I felt like Trouble's beat was okay, but it just almost felt maybe a hair or two try hard. It wasn't quite as good as Bubba Sparxxx' normal type ratio for some of those. I mean, I kind of liked it, but just not enough. It just felt a little bit too flexing too hard a little bit. And 99 Plus was kind of trying to be this posse song that didn't resonate with me. And yeah, there's just some arrangements of some of these songs that were just not quite top of the bar. I mean, I feel like it's just like standard stuff with mixtapes. How you get some that just don't resonate with every person. I didn't like the verse layout of Plenty Money. I mean, I almost like the beat on there, but Plenty Money they just kind of went. They had too short. They had Plenty Money just had a lot of verses on the song, and they just kind of interspersed really quickly and that type of stuff. I kind of would normally like that, but I just didn't like the beat arrangement and then the way that song kind of turned out for how that kind of went. But yeah, there's just a number of these on here that just kind of have some lagging energy and just not overall the same appeal. I mean, it's good. There is some good quality stuff on here. There are some quality trunk rattlers and stuff like that on here, but it's kind of where I want to say just about a mixed bag, kind of half and half type stuff. You just have to do some pick and choosing because there might be some ones that you do like out of some of these. I mean, it's free music, so it just kind of has the concept of being able to say to kind of pick and choose some of these. But I feel like some of these just kind of fell flat and are just pretty much like mediocre kind of songs. I just feel like, I mean, some of these, like I said, most of the beats on this album are kind of like B beats, 85%, 83% type beats on here, but I do feel like that kind of concept when you get beneath like B minus kind of grade and it starts getting into like 66% territory and 71%, it's just some of these really feel like kind of throwaways that I can basically see not being on an album. That's just kind of the concept where this album, because Bubba Sparxxx was a year and a half removed from the quality of his success, it just felt like the money dried up quicker than what Bubba would have wanted between the charm and this project. And it's not to say that he was broke, but it's just kind of the concept that there's no real high octane guests on here. There are guests on here, but there's no Yin Yang Twins and Frankie J and like Killer Mike and those type people, and he's not affiliated with Big Boys Camp anymore. So that's just kind of the concept where it just kind of, it is, I don't want to say a downgrade, but it just the quality of it, I think the outgoingness is still there, but it just doesn't have the commercial appeal of the charm. That's kind of the prospect about it, but it's just noted in that, just paying attention to some of the haphazard kind of songs on here. That's kind of the concept. But so I'm gonna give this album or this mixtape Me liking 9.5 songs out of 18. I'm gonna give it a 6.75. I feel like that's pretty solid. Just be able to say, just because half the project out of 18 songs is pretty damn good. Just to like that many free songs and be able to say something with it. So I just would have to say, it's got some good taste in here, but it just is kind of. I just feel like it's just surprising how off to the wayside this project was that quickly. I mean, you would think that Bubba Sparxxx would still be able to snag like a Bun B feature and like a Pimp C feature and like people like that, just some people kind of lower key on the scale and that type of stuff, like Chameleonaire and some of those type people, just folks like that. But there's just really nothing particularly noteworthy. It's pretty in-house or just very low key to the point where I don't even know who these folks are. I mean, Dat Piff didn't say the name of the artists on there, and it's just difficult to kind of find information about this project whatsoever. So that's kind of the thing. Like I said, this mixtape in 16 years has only gotten less than 3,000 downloads, at least on Dat Piff. So that's kind of the thing. So, but the social score I will give a 7 out of 10 because it does have like a lot of club quality cuts, and even some of the songs I didn't like on this project are kind of meant for stepping out. So that's kind of the concept there where Bubba retained like the fun flavor that he had on the charm. It's just the fact that it seemed like the budget was lower, but he still was having fun, and that's just kind of the concept of just realizing that the money behind Miss New Booty kind of was gone, but not to the degree that where the quality sucks or something. This kind of happens to be a thing. So in terms of the future, Bubba Sparxxx, as I think he's been putting out projects. I mean, articles about him are kind of sparse in terms of information as far as the makeup of what he does, but I do at least know that he dropped a few albums in the 2010s and at least an album I think in 2020 or something. So I'll have to cover some more of these. But I definitely did like this project. It was pretty solitary.